Lava from American Samoa. We're here with Congresswoman Aumua Amata, and today we're going to have her take on a few issues that is important to me and to also you that have sent in your questions. So we'll start right away with this and introducing Congressman Aumua Amata.
Thank you, Victor. It's good to be with you, and I want to thank you for your years of service in the Pacific region and the East-West Center. And I know you have some serious topics to discuss, but I can't help but reminisce a bit. Your father and my father were very, very close, and your mother as well. She's right there, part of the team. So it's good to talk to you about American Samoa and our people, which is my favorite topic.
All right, so we'll get right on it. The first question, it should be very easy for those that are not understanding. What is the job of a congresswoman representing American Samoa? What does that consist of?
Well, when I was first elected, a member of Congress, a very senior member of Congress from Indiana, said to me, the definition is to convince 440 other members of Congress that my home district is the most important. So that's what we do. I'm a lawmaker, and a lot of people think that I'm a non-voting delegate. That is completely a misnomer. We do vote not only in subcommittee and committee, but we actually vote on the floor. And also, I've been given the privilege to be Speaker pro tem. When the Congress assembles as the committee of the whole, I preside over that. And as far as what we are allowed to do, we do everything that the rest of the members from the states can do. It's the same budget, the same number of people we're allowed to hire. We've got the same amount of money. I can actually run for Speaker of the House if I could get enough votes to do it. So we can do the only thing we cannot do is to vote in final passage of a bill on the House floor. But everything else, I introduce bills on the floor. I spend a lot of time on the House floor, to be honest with you. Just as a matter of fact, about a month ago when I was just back in Washington, I was floor manager for quite a number of bills that our committee had worked on together. And so we were able to get all those bills passed by unanimous consent. And that's what I shoot for when I have legislation for American Samoa, meaning I get all the support of the Democrats and all the support of the Republicans. And that is how I have worked for the past 10 plus years. Very bipartisan. As a matter of fact, there is a bipartisan index that put it out, and they were analyzing or assessing the work of all the members of the U.S. House, and they came to the conclusion that I was 10th highest of all in terms of the bipartisanship.
Wow.
Because, as a matter of fact, right after the election, when I go back up, I've already been invited by Hakeem Jeffries. And he is the Democratic leader, and after November 5th, he will either be the Speaker or he will continue to be the Democratic leader. And he has asked me to go with him out to some islands, so there's only one answer when you get a question or an invitation to House leadership. Yoy!
Congratulations.
Thank you. The next question is a two-part question. The first part is about citizenship. It keeps coming up about American Samoans being citizens, and then I'll tell you the next question. Can you please shed some light on the citizen issue, which is still lingering?
Yeah. So on the matter of citizenship, currently that's an individual choice for most of our people, as they are born U.S. nationals. And the U.S. Supreme Court, as you know, recently affirmed American Samoa's self-determination on this matter. And we have a brilliant lawyer, Mike Williams, who is married to Julene, and she's from Lauli'i. And he represented American Samoa pro bono, and he has done it for years because he has a Samoan family, and so he understands us. So our forefathers were willing to be part of the U.S. and recognized U.S. sovereignty, which I think was a good decision as we look at the world today. And our forefathers also wanted to stay Samoan and not lose our islands, our way, our land, our language, our Matai system. So for almost 125 years, their solution has been in place, and we've done much better at keeping our culture than some other places. And I noticed the other day, all three teams running for governor said our status should be left up to the people, and I completely agree, and that is the consensus. For my job is, my bosses are the people of American Samoa, and when they tell me to do something, I go and do it and fight tooth and nail. I may not personally agree with what they want me to do, but they are my bosses, and I do what they tell me to do. So American Samoa is blessed to have control over its own land and borders, and the trade-off for this self-governance is that local immigration is separate from the federal process. So while this usually only affects Western Samoans and other foreign countries, we want to be reminded that U.S. nationals and their families still have an obligation to comply with federal standards when they're traveling to the rest of the United States, for instance. So for both U.S. nationals and foreign citizens, if you have any doubt, please don't hesitate to call my office, 633-3601, all the way to 3605, way before your travel deadline or your visa expiration, and it becomes too late to assist.
Thank you. Now, the second part of that question is about immigration. You mentioned that we control our own immigration.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, that myself and I, a lot of our people here in American Samoa, has seen an influx in Vietnamese migrants. How would you help in trying to control these immigration, even though it's controlled locally by the local government?
Well, when the United States agreed to let us control our own immigration, that's exactly what the situation is. So I think it's best to discuss this with the Attorney General, who is the head of the Immigration Office, and the Chief Immigration Officer works under him, she and her team. So that would be a best question for them. I, as a federal official, there is kind of a line of demarcation. Otherwise, I'll be accused of, Sau'Ai Amaka fia poko mai. E vaaya kwa e lo so makafa yoi nga nga ngofo fo am fa kong ka ko. And that's the way it is.
Thank you for making that clear. Here's a step in a different direction. I want to talk about marijuana. Marijuana that President Biden months ago, a statement coming out of the White House that he is looking at reclassifying or taking marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. Now, if it goes to Schedule 3, I think naturally it will be legalized federally. If it does get federally legalized, what are the steps that American Samoa can do to get this legalized? I'm only asking most of the people that have brought to my attention that they are veterans, that they use it's much better than the effects they get from the manufactured drugs from pharma. What is your stand on that?
Well, let me say that from the standpoint of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, they do not ask any questions of the veterans when they come in for their checkups. We do not say, are you on drugs or anything like that. They don't do that. But, getting back to the crux of your question, first of all, unless something comes up in Congress, right now there's an issue. It's an issue for ASG first, as I mentioned. Sometimes it's been directly voted on by the people in some of the states by referendum, which is very interesting. I know medical marijuana is available in some states. A few states go further than that. I haven't examined it closely, but I do believe it brings change to those states, so we'd want to look at results thoroughly. And I know you're asking strictly about limited medical use with a doctor involved. I think there'll be some strong opinions in American Samoa, and I look forward to listening, including our health professionals, as I would with any issues. And every issue is of a high importance to someone, and I really understand that when people are chronically hurting or sick, they want to try anything that might help. And our veterans, we are there to take care of our veterans, and they have given the prime of their life to the United States, so the United States owes them a lot. And I haven't heard much so far from our people requesting a change like this, but the process would begin with the American Samoa government. That said, a federal role might develop, and if it does, you can know for sure I'll be listening to our people and gathering facts and seeing how it's going, as it is in certain states, and I will represent what our people want to have done.
Thank you. I want to ask you your take about seabed mining. A while back, a local nonprofit wanted to entertain going into seabed mining. So I did a little background on it, and maybe a couple of months later, the governor came out, Governor Limanu, signed or issued a document saying that there will be no seabed mining in the territory. Well, depending on how this, how we go along in the next couple of years, they're trying to show, the people involved are trying to show that it's economically viable. My fear is, if there's seabed mining, according from all my experiences with seabed mining around the world that I've also researched, it affects their fisheries. That is my main concern, and I want your take on that. If this seabed mining goes through, that seems to be a threat on our local fisheries. What is your take on seabed mining?
Well, any mining license would need the FONO and the governor's approval, and while my input is limited on local licensing, I would humbly suggest it needs to ensure environmentally safe methods while considering the financial benefits to the people. And it will bring in a lot of money, there's just no doubt about it. For example, in Alaska, there's a trust fund that gives individuals over $2,000 per year to every man, woman, and child related to the extraction of oil and gas. I mean, as far as seabed mining, I would defer to the people, and I will faithfully represent them on this matter if it arises, following any initial steps with ASG. So if the people express their desire to have their FONO leaders and the governor support a project in an environmentally sustainable way, and the project provides significant funds to our people without harm to our environment, then I would join our people, along with the governor and FONO, to look very closely at that as well. Then whatever the people and their local leaders decide, I would still insist on doing things safely and correctly with careful consideration of environmental effects weighed against the potential financial benefit.
Thank you. That comes to our last question. The last question, I want to address the issue of ageism. That people have expressed their thoughts that you might be too old for this job, or that you don't have, and so I want your take on that.
Well, that's an interesting question, because I have a lot of 45-year-olds who just can't imagine how I can travel to American Samoa once or twice every single month for over 10 years, and I'm still walking and talking. Why, I would say, for instance, my staff, the age runs a gamut. Yeah, the youngest is about 23 years old, and it kind of goes up from there. But it's important to treat people with dignity and love at any age. And it's important to know that there are legal protections against age discrimination in the U.S., but there are also businesses that have written and known mandatory retirement ages, for instance. And the reality is people age at different rates. And Iowa's Senator Chuck Grassley is still going strong at 91 years. He just got reelected last year. And I mean, he won by a landslide. The people don't care how old the person is. What can you do for me and my family? They do not care how old are you? No, they don't care about that. But our older people here are a respected resource, and we should value their wisdom as the Bible tells us to, calling the gray hair the glory of an older person. We also shouldn't undervalue a young person and their ideas and creativity and enthusiasm. And I think both are strengths to our community. And when an older person is definitely failing, that can be very difficult. And it can usually be resolved the right way with compassion, conversation, and prayer. Now, I think it was Congressman Claude Pepper. He actually celebrated his 100th birthday working still in the United States House of Representatives. I don't think I would go that far, but as long as the people want me to serve them, I'm always going to be there. And every 2 years, they reevaluate us, and the people have a chance to judge me on my work and whatever else they want to judge me on. But, I think that if we stick to the issues and policy, that's a very good thing. But if you want to go below the belt and get personal, well, then that's up to the person. This is a democracy, and people, the First Amendment says people have the freedom to say whatever they want to say. And so that's that. But just for myself, I feel great. I feel great. I'm actually a 5 a.m.er for the SSY over there. And, I would challenge some of the other people to, anytime you want to have a PT competition, let me know,
Thank you very much. So we come to this part of the interview where your final thoughts, any thoughts that you have about this election cycle.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. The election is moving along. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I think I've developed a thick skin. I try to concentrate on what's important to the people and not go veering off track to personal things. Now, when I ran against Congressman Eni F.H. Falumavaenga, I never attacked Falumavaenga, never, because that is not the way our people are. As a matter of fact, if you attack another person, before you know it, all these people arise out of nowhere to pound you down for saying, we do have that rule, don't talk stink about each other, So, but anyway, here I am, and if anyone wants to support me or learn about me, before I give you my website, I humbly thank the people. I want to thank you for all your prayers. Thank you for all the support all these years. And it brings tears to my eyes. And it was not easy for me to get here. It's no secret that I ran for really 22 years and lost and lost and lost. But it was really interesting because my predecessor, Falumavaenga, he said, I've been looking at your numbers. It's the most amazing thing. No matter how many times you lose your committee, whoa, they're tigers, and they stand by you, and they don't go away from you. And he really admired that about my committee. And so my website is friendsofamata.com, and I'm much more known by my name, Amata, than by my last name or even by my tamari title of Awifatali, Teo Maputasi. And some kind of a situation has arisen where they are questioning the validity of people's Matai titles. And so naturally they asked me too about my Aumua title. And so I have a piece of paper from the Office of the Registrar that I got way back in the 1990s or whatever it was. And it's officially titled and registered. And so as far as the Wifatali Te or Maputasi, that was officially registered on October 6, 1906. And it has been a member of the Pamupango Village Council of Chiefs for many, many generations. So I don't want to sound arrogant and say we are the real deal, but we probably are the real deal because that title has been around for more than 100 years. So I appreciate all the topics you brought up, and most of what I hear from people in conversation are their basic needs, the bread and butter issues, veteran services, continuing to support health care in any way possible, the cost of everything that is shipped into our islands, and some of the constituent work we do in the office. And I have an awesome congressional staff that helps our people, and there are days when the line is so long, people wanting to come in, they want a visa, and they, as a matter of fact, that is not a congressional duty. I had to ask permission from the U.S. Department of State just so we could do this for our brothers and sisters in Samoa. And so, but getting back to the situation, the election at hand, I expect a closely divided Congress. And as I mentioned earlier, I work well on a bipartisan basis with anyone who gets things done, anyone who wants to get things done for our people. And seniority helps a little bit more each new Congress. So I've many years worth of friendships, links, and political connections in Washington that I reach out to on behalf of our people. And one of the things is that I wear the Pulatasi and the Sei, and that's kind of a walking reminder of American Samoa in Washington. So for me to try to remember who my colleagues are, what their names are, all the men wear a blue suit and a red tie. All the women wear some kind of pantsuit, but generally they wear dark clothes. And then there's this one woman who comes in with big hibiscuses all over and her pulatasi, and they know who I am. I stand out, maybe like a sore thumb sometimes, but I stand out. They see that flower, a big smile goes over their face, and they say, I know who you are. And so sometimes it may be a good thing to stand out rather than to blend in.
Thank you very much.
Man, that was amazing.
There you have it, live and direct, here in the office of Congresswoman Amata. Thank you very much for joining us. Any final thoughts that you may have, just put it in the comments. We will be interviewing another candidate later on in the evening, Luisa Kuaya, and stay tuned for that. For now, we thank you very much, Congresswoman, for your time. We know this is a very crunch point in this election cycle, and plus, you've got 1,000,001 things to do. To tell you, the only thing I'm concerned is that I want from her is her vitamins list. Thank you very much. All right. See you later.